DJI Air 2S review. Let's dive right in. The DJI Air 2S behaves and acts like any other DJI drone. The ease of use of using these types of drones is really remarkable. So if you're new to this hobby, you will find it very easy to fly and operate this drone without any prior skills. And comparing this to the other DJI drones, I would say that it behaves and flies very well. There's no difference with the DJI Air 2S. The flight time is claimed for 31 minutes, and we all know that this is a pretty optimistic bet, but I seem not to be able to get anything that is above 25 minutes with the 3 batteries that I have. And if I zip around with the drone in sport mode and such, we know that the power consumption is higher, then we're closer to the 20-minute mark. Even compared to the Mini 2, the flight time feels significantly shorter. With the 1-inch sensor, which is an upgrade for the 102 third, you gain access to 5.4K 30 FPS. And that type of footage really looks stunning when you review it on your computer. So even if you decide not to use the full resolution, you will still get a downscaled version that really preserves all the details and make it look absolutely fantastic. Many of you were super excited to learn that you will get access to 60 frames per second in 4K with the DJI Air 2S. But one thing that you need to be aware of, if you switch between 30 and 60 frames per second, you would see a significant crop in the image. This does not make the footage unusable, this is just something that you need to be aware of. Another benefit of the 1-inch sensor is that you get the capabilities of shooting 20 megapixel photos. And with that type of resolution, the pictures look absolutely amazing and a lot of details are preserved. One thing that you would really benefit from with the upgraded sensor is the low light capabilities. Especially the ISO performance has improved significantly. Look at this test shot that I've done from the Kronborg Castle where I normally go and fly. This is taken in the evening, 9:30 in the evening, and it was pitch black. Let me just play a little bit of footage that was recorded with maximum video settings to show you how dark it actually was when I was taking this image. And as you can see, it turned out really well. It's taken with 2 seconds of shutter and 2300 in ISO. And even at that ISO level, of course there was noise introduced in the image, but it was nothing that couldn't be smoothed out in post-processing. I really like the format of the Air 2S. Of course it's the same size as the previous Air 2, but I don't have that. But comparing it to the Mavic 2 Pro that's on the shelf here in the back, it's not as clumsy. It's actually quite a nice compact package that you get here. Of course it's not the same size as the Mini 2. But if you're flying the Fly More combo, comparing the back from the Mini 2 with the Air 2S, there's not much of a difference in size. And if you're using the back, you can as easily bring the Air 2S as you can with the Mini 2 and get the benefit of the bigger sensor and all the additional features of the Air 2S. If you previously own a Mavic Air 2 and have decided to upgrade and still keep the Air 2, you will be happy to know that both props and batteries are cross-compatible. So you can use your old Air 2 batteries and props with the Air 2S. And as you know, these batteries normally don't come cheap, so it's a very nice thing that you are allowed to use the battery from the previous drone. The Air 2S is equipped with an incremental upgrade from the OcuSync 2.0, the O3 or OcuSync 3. And where you really notice the difference is the responsiveness of the drone. The OcuSync 3 was introduced with the DJI FPV drone, which needs a very low latency signal for you not to crash the drone when you're zipping around in the landscape. So they have decided to include that with the Air 2S, and you can really feel that when you fly the drone, that it's super responsive. It responds very rapidly to your stick input. Also, DJI has decided to change the dual antenna design that was previously located in the 2 front legs of the drone. Now they switched to a design where they basically have antennas in all 4 positions of the drone. I would assume this contributes a lot to bringing down the latency. For those of you that have seen the videos that I've made around the smart controller, know that I have serious problems using that. I see a quite significant lag in the video feed when I fly the drone. I made a few videos around this topic where I tried to sort of eliminate all the causes that could make this happen, but none of the things that I tried helped this out. The funny part, or the strange part, is if you look through the comments for these videos, you would see that it's not all that has this lagging issue. Some are reporting that the connection is absolutely fine, others are reporting similar issues to me. But regardless, it's quite a gamble to spend something like $600-800 on edge technology like this just to find out that the video feed is lacking. So that's definitely not good, and definitely something DJI needs to address. And of course the remote. The lovely new type of remote design is really lovely that they maintain to provide that kind of remote for their newer drones. I love the idea that the screen is on top, which makes it very, very easy to operate the drone in the field. It is a little bit big, but it also contains a very big battery that will make this remote last for a long time between each charging. Nice. But there are some limitations that you can't basically fit in something that is much larger than the iPhone Pro Max. So in case you want to fly with something that's bigger than that, you are forced to go out and buy some third-party accessories that will allow you to mount maybe a tablet or so, if that's what you prefer when you're out flying. With the Air 2S, DJI introduced something called Master Shots. And Master Shots is basically where the drone takes a series of pre-programmed shot and angles, where you later can convert these into a 15 to 20 seconds clip that you can share on social media. The raw clip that you're shooting is maybe 2 minutes long, but using some of the provided templates, you can boil this down to a really nice 15 to 20 seconds clip in 1080p. There are a lot of options to choose from, so you can get your own personal look and feel to the footage that you're recording. The ease of use of these templates is really amazing. It's amazing what they can do in such a short time. You will probably struggle, or at least use a long time, to do an edit on similar level. It's pretty advanced what they are doing, and it's fully automated. I know these Master Shots are not thought for professionals to use, but I still think it's very, very nice for me as a content creator to have that option to just set the scene with one of these and include those in my videos. They also include some very nice music tracks, and there are no watermark in the end. These Master Shots are absolutely brilliant for some fast and easy content for social media. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to render the Master Shot in higher resolution than 1080p. It could be very nice to include some of these really nice templates as part of your video project, so be prepared to have an upscale version if you decide to use it in a 4K project. I really hope DJI will allow us to export these in 4K in the future. I did the initial flight with the Air 2S. I noticed that I got props in the frames, and especially Master Shots were polluted by this phenomenon. It turned out that there was a setting somewhere inside the app that you only get access to when the drone is airborne that would avoid having props in the frame when doing Master Shots. It removes the problem for Master Shots, but it does not remove the problem in general, as you will be able to see props in the shots under some conditions when you film in 5.4K 30 FPS. The Air 2S includes 3 color profiles. There's the standard 8-bit color profile, where DJI basically have taken care of all the color grading and all the color correction of the footage. And if you're just using the footage as it is and you're not planning to do anything with the footage in post-production, it's perfectly fine. But if you want to stretch the colors, maybe change it a little bit, maybe color grade it, there are certain limitations what you can do with 8-bit footage. If you're like me that likes to work with the footage in post, they offer a very nice opportunity with 2 10-bit color profiles that will allow you to capture the maximum dynamic range of the footage that you're shooting. Actually, with the 10-bit format, you will be capable of capturing something like 12.5 stops of dynamic range. And if those numbers doesn't say anything to you, I can just tell you that it captures a lot of details in the image if you're using these formats. The first one is the D-Log format, where everything gets sort of flat and desaturated, and it's very easy to take that footage and bring it into your editing software, apply something that's called a LUT or lookup table that will bring the colors back so they really pop. And if you want to take it even further, you can use the HLG or Hyperlog Gamma, which is an HDR format that does an even better job at preserving the details in your footage. Working with the HDR footage or HLG in your editing software requires some extra work to make the colors look nice. But if you put in the work, the result is really amazing. I'm really happy that DJI decided to include 10-bit color profiles. Those are, in combination with the 1-inch sensor, a real asset for this drone. But the downside to that is that you lose some of the functionality of the drone when you decide to use these 2 color profiles. For instance, the zoom capabilities, that disappears. It's only available when you're using the 8-bit standard color profile. Be aware, getting access to 5.4K 30 FPS at 150 megabit per second will eat up a lot of storage on your SD card, as well as posing a serious challenge for your editing software when you're going to work with the footage. To prevent you from running into that limitation, I have decided to upload some sample footage in the 3 color profiles, standard, D-Log and HLG, to the Tech Drone Media website, so you can download those clips and test out for yourself if you can edit the footage. I've included some pictures as well in both JPEG and RAW that will allow you to assess the quality. Link is in the description below. If you are coming from the Mini or the Mini 2, you would be really happy to know that they have decided to include 8 GB of internal storage. Of course, 8 GB will not, with 5.4K 30 FPS, not take you very far. But at least you have the chance to bring home something when you're out shooting in case that you have forgotten your SD card. 8 GB of storage will give you around 10 minutes of footage in 5.4K 30 FPS at 150 megabit per second. Many were really disappointed to find out that the Air 2S does not have variable aperture, meaning that a diaphragm that can be opened and closed in front of the lens to limit the amount of light like we see on the Mavic 2 Pro. I guess DJI left that feature out, saving it for the next generation of the Pro series. Variable aperture is normally used for 2 things. One of them is to control the depth of field in your image. I would argue if you're flying high and far away from things, depth of field has little to no importance. The second thing that you use variable aperture is to control the amount of light that hits the sensor when you're recording video. Many is changing the 180-degree rule to generate motion blur in their footage. But again, I would argue if you're far away from things and flying slow, you won't be able to see the difference. So you could argue how important the variable aperture is on a drone. Is this a deal breaker for you or not? Let me know in the comment. DJI has decided to include a set of ND filters. And this set contains a range from ND4 to ND8, ND16 and ND32. The problem with the filter kit or the range that DJI has included is that the biggest or the highest ND filter, the darkest one, is ND32, and that's not even close to being dark enough if you're flying out in bright sunlight. There's been a lot of discussions about how, when and where that you're going to use these filters with your drone. And I actually made a separate video about this that clears off some of the most common misunderstandings about these filters, as well as showing you by example how the filters actually work. And in case you want to watch that video, you can access it through this card, or you can find it through a link in the description below. Now we're talking ND filters. Switching out the ND filter in front of the lens is very easy on this drone. What DJI has done here, the way they have implemented this turning mechanism, even though it's very similar to the Mavic 2 Pro, it works very well and it's very easy to get to take off the filter and replace it with another one. This might seem like a minor detail, but when you're out in the field and you have the need for switching a filter, it's actually nice that it's hassle-free. Not Hasselblad, but hassle-free. Good job, DJI. For some reason, DJI always have problems keeping the horizon level on their drones. And the Air 2S is no exception. It seems my horizon is off, at least sometimes. It's not all the times. And I have tried to calibrate the gimbal on a flat surface to make sure that it's level. So I'm sorry to inform you that the Air 2S seems to be suffering, at least my sample, from the drunken horizon, as my good friend Sean Oz would say. And as with the previous model, you are getting access to quick shots, which are predefined flight patterns that you can use for different purposes. You are getting access to panoramas, where you can shoot 360 panoramas, you can shoot vertical, you can shoot like a wide image where it stitches from 9 different images to one single image. So there's a lot of possibilities to capture something that is really nice. You're also getting access to hyperlapse. That is a pretty cool feature that will allow you to do some fancy stuff. You can even use waypoints, and as far as I know, you are capable of saving those waypoints so you can use them again if you like. I'm not sure about the last part here, but I'm pretty sure that you will tell me that in the comment below. You have very easy access to the intelligent flight modes of the drone. You simply just from the front screen of the DJI Fly app draw a square around the object that you want to use for one of the intelligent flight modes. If you choose Spotlight, Spotlight simply allows you to position the drone somewhere in the sky, and then when you move around below it, the camera will simply turn and follow the motion. You can also do it the other way around and decide to fly the drone also while you're moving, and the drone will try to keep you in the center of the frame. That's a pretty advanced option that will allow you to do some really sweet stuff. Of course, they have decided to include the next iteration of point of interest, where you basically choose a point of interest and then allow the drone to either circle clockwise or anti-clockwise around this subject. It does that fully automatically, and you can change the flight pattern while it's flying, ascending, descending, increasing, decreasing the distance to the point of interest while it's executing. That also opens up for a lot of possibilities to do some pretty cool stuff. And of course, they also included the next iteration of Active Track 4.0. How well that works out in real life, I've tested that riding my electric unicycle and made a separate video about this. And in case you want to watch that, you can access it through this card or through a link in the description below. Spoiler, it's not as good as DJI thinks, but probably the best option that you will get in Europe, as we don't have access to the Skyview 2. You're all excited getting access to 60 frames per second with 4K and a higher resolution of 5.4K 30 FPS. Unfortunately, none of the tracking features on the drone supports higher frame rates than 30 FPS and resolution higher than 4K. I like that they have added new sensors here on the top. Actually, the top of the drone looks like a vintage Porsche 911. Especially when you're using these automated flight modes, you have the need for as many sensors as possible because it's basically automated, and depending on what the drone is doing, it needs sensors to detect what's going on. These new top sensors will help protect the drone when it's flying angled forward as well as under obstacles. So the Air 2S has no side sensors, and that's actually a bit crazy when you think about the features that DJI is providing. They are providing all these automated flight modes, and most of them rely on sideways movement, and there are no sensors on the drone to protect it. I know that a lot of you would say, yeah, you need to learn how to fly this without sensors and stuff, because real men fly without sensors. Yeah, that's probably right, but you need the sensors when you're using these automated flight modes. I almost wrecked the drone several times because of lacking side sensors playing around with these automated flight modes. So it's really a shame that DJI left out these side sensors because they're probably saving it for the next generation of the Pro model. But you really need them when you're using these automated flight modes. What will the drone do when it actually faces an obstacle? You have different options to decide how the drone should behave. One of the options is that when it faces an obstacle, it will simply just stop and hover in front of the obstacle. But you can also, with the APAS 4.0, enable a mode that will allow the drone to try and fly around the obstacle. And this is of course my preferred solution. I don't want the drone to stop and keep hanging there. The Air 2S is not CE marked, which means that it will turn into a legacy drone by 2023. And with a start weight of 600 grams, this will put the Air 2, at least in Europe, in a category with very strict rules about how close you are allowed to fly to people and infrastructure. If you're living in a closely populated area, this would basically render the drone useless after 2023. Have you decided, based on what you have heard in this video, to pick up an Air 2S for yourself? Then of course I've included purchase links in the description below. I also made a ton of videos around this drone about its capabilities and features. And in case you want to watch that playlist, you can access it through this card. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then feel free to give it a like. If you didn't like it, feel free to press the dislike button twice. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.